All right, welcome to the White Stripe Podcast, Stripe Watch.
Hello.
All right, so we're here. We're with Josh Hernandez. We're gonna talk about episode 2 of Itaewon Class. If you have not watched episode 1 yet, you can go check that out first. All right, Josh, episode 2. So this is where so much happens in episode 2, right? So we leave our characters off. Serowi is about to throw the stone, the big stone, parasite style, to Gunwon, and that's where it freezes, right? So it goes back. When we go back to the show, it's Suwa in the police car going to the hospital where they're fighting, and I almost forgot about this part, right? But it's the part where he's like pointing a gun at Serowi. And he's like, put it down. And then he was like, I have nothing to live for anymore. I don't care. You can shoot. And then Suwa jumps in the middle. And then she saves him. Watching that again, I'm more impressed by that. What were your thoughts on it?
Wait, are you more impressed at the fact that it was Suwa, or more impressed at...
I'm more impressed at Suwa.
All right, nice. I just wanted to get it out there.
Like, I saw that and I was like, oh, shoot. Like, oh, yeah. Mainly because I forgot most of Suwa's early character days. So that surprised me. What was your reaction to that part?
For me, well, I don't think Park Seo-joon would have done it either way. I mean, it's the show. It's plot armor. So,
yeah.
I mean, we need to have an Itaewon Class, so he was probably not going to do it. What I do think about that particular scene is that Park Seo-joon, the actor, not the character, Park Seo-joon is actually a really good crier and screamer.
Yes, I agree. He was so good.
He portrayed that scene very, very well.
And he looked ugly. You know what I mean? Like, his face was emotion. It, like, you know, because there are some people who, on camera, they'll try to look angry or sad, but they still try to look good. He looked horrible in a good way.
He looked horrible and still looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Park Seo-joon. No, but just... seriously speaking, I loved how he was able to really convey that emotion of grief, that emotion of I'd like to say that there was guilt also, because hadn't he punched Gunwon, then none of this would have happened.
You're right. Exactly.
None of this would have happened.
He must have felt like he has some responsibility in it.
Exactly, yeah. So it was very painful for him to witness his dad dying.
For sure.
And also taking the blame on himself.
My goodness.
So, yeah. Shout out to Park Seo-joon. I saw you with that smart advertisement. That recent one that you dropped. Nice one. Salamat.
All right. So basically, just for the
감사합니다.
For the foundation of the show, this is the episode where he gets convicted into 3 years. Chairman meets him. He eventually gets out after 2 or 3 years, and then there's a lot that happens. He goes to Itaewon, so we'll talk all about that. All right, Josh, most memorable scene. What's your Stripe Watch award?
Damn. If episode 1 was like good, this one was like, whoa, okay, now we're getting into the show.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. There's a lot of memorable scenes with this show. I think for me, what I liked was when he came out of jail already, because he went to jail for what he did, and he goes into the bar, and he has the same food the same order that he and his dad had during that
Ah.
conversation in episode 1.
Yeah.
Sundubu jjigae and soju.
Mm.
So I forgot what you call those. I forgot what you call those things in the stories or shows. For those objects that have significance for the plot of the story. I forgot what you call those plot devices. But um, yeah, sundubu jjigae, or if for those of you who don't know what sundubu jjigae is, it's a soft tofu stew.
Mm.
Jjigae means stew, and sundubu means soft tofu in Korean. Um, that definitely that particular dish has a lot of significance in the entire show, but you can tell the position of, or you can tell the where Park Seori is at just by noticing his reaction to the drink, the soju, or the rice wine.
Yeah.
And if in the first episode we see that Park Seori, his first time drinking soju was that it was sweet,
Yeah.
meaning that he had a impressive day or he had a good day.
Yeah.
This time around, it was bitter.
Mm.
So I like that. For me, that was memorable because um, it was a change in dynamic.
Yeah.
It was a change of it was both a change and actually a new start.
Yeah.
For the show, and it was memorable for me um, for the sole reason that he was trying to. It was the first time that he was trying to have
Yeah.
that sweet drink
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And it's memorable also for me on a personal level because now that I I don't I don't know if it's true in Korean culture if if you drink if you have a good day. I haven't done my research on that enough. So if anyone knows if that's true,
Comment down
you can let me know.
Yeah.
But I every time I drink soju, I always remember that scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
When I drink soju and I taste it, if it's sweet, then I probably had a good day. But if it tastes bitter, then something was off that day. And yeah, that is my most memorable moment for the show.
Yeah.
The Stripe Watch Award goes to that scene.
All
What
right.
about you, Trey?
All right, so I want to talk about that scene for a while before I go into mine. So I remember that scene. I found it really interesting because when I was watching it again, so he's alone in that pub, right? He's eating. He asks for 2 glasses, which is something that goes off your head in the first watch. But the second watch, I was like, oh, that's so sad. Like he's asking for 2 glasses. And then there's this pan scene where he goes behind the head, right? And then it's like he sees his dad, right? Like that's basically the scene.
Oh yeah.
So what I enjoyed about watching it again, so while I was watching it again, I was wearing earphones, and then while it was panning, it was an empty pub. But then when you see the dad again, it's it sounds full. Like it sounds like there's a lot of people in the pub. Like he's talking. It was so interesting to me seeing all that. Like he envisioned it and all that stuff, and he remembers his dad. It was so sad. Just to cap off that scene as well, he leaves the autobiography of Chairman Jang in the pub because he read it throughout his stay in prison. So he leaves it there, and then the guy is like, oh, do you want it back? And he was like, oh no, thank you. You can get rid of it. I've memorized it. I was like, oh wow. And then you look at the cover of the book, and it's like a devil like painted, like he drew on it, and then it basically says I can beat you. Oh man, like I forgot about that. That was a good one. All right, so my Stripe Watch Award for most memorable scene has to go to the montage between Serui and Sua. Their whole
Which one?
Their whole montage
Which
of
one?
Halloween.
Oh,
that night.
okay.
That night it has to go to that scene. I remember watching it, and basically he says like, oh, it's kind of like torment because it's a taste of what he could have, but he's gonna leave it. I found that but he was so happy. Everyone was so happy.
Yeah.
And then right after that, they go into the scene where they're talking. They're talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm about to graduate. I'm gonna work at Jenga." And then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start my own pub." And then she goes like, "Oh, where?"
Mm.
And he's like, "I like it here." And she was just like, "Oh, it's expensive, right? All that stuff." And he was like, "No, I like it here." And then she's like, "I don't think it's a good idea for you to start a business in such an expensive area." He's like, like, no, I'll do it here. Watching it again, I was so impressed. I was like, oh, this guy knows. And then after that, she asks, oh, when are you going to do it? He's like, 7 years. And she's like, spits on him. Like, and then right after that, she was like, oh, but what are you going to do next? And he's like, oh, deep sea fishing. Then he spits on him again. It was so funny. It's so funny to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And then that whole montage of, he looks so happy. It feels like a dream day or night that some of us have, but we all have those days sometimes where we're having so much fun, we're with someone we love, or all that stuff. And I think that was a really interesting take on it. And then he was all like, he tried to enjoy it, but he knew he had to leave it. It was an interesting watch.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
All right. We're going to go to the next part. Heartbreaking scenes.
Heartbreaking scenes.
What broke your heart the most in this episode, Josh?
For me... Good question. Because there was... Well, obviously, episode 1 was utter heartbreak. Like, crushing, devastating. Yeah. For me... Probably the fact that okay, now I remember. What broke my heart the most during this episode was when justice was not given to the dad of Park Seroyi. The case was covered up because of several reasons.
The gardener came forward, all that stuff.
Yeah. And the cop, he wanted to prove that it was all just a cover-up, but we didn't get any of that, because if we did, then it would be not Itaewon Class. It would probably just be
Class.
Not Itaewon Class. But yeah, that scene was heartbreaking for me because obviously you don't who wouldn't want an injustice to happen.
Yeah,
did I say that right? Or
who would want
an injustice to happen?
Yeah,
right? You when something happens to you, like let's say, knock on wood, if somebody that you cared about, got into an accident by somebody that you know, and justice was not given for that, then won't you be offended? Won't you get angry that justice was not given?
Yeah.
So for me that broke my heart in that sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you, Trey?
Oh man, for me, I have two kinds of heartbreak in this episode. So the first one would definitely be
I think I know one.
So the first one would be when he pours the drinks in the bar in the pub, and his dad's there, like what we talked about earlier. That would definitely be one of them.
Yeah.
I found that really sad. Another one would actually be with Jang Gunwan, when his dad was lecturing him about animals and dogs and chickens, and he's like saying, your employees are just like dogs, and he had that whole speech about like, oh, the intelligence of a pig and a dog are similar, but we love dogs more, all that stuff, and employees are like that, like just think of them as pigs. And for me, that was so hard to watch because of another moment we'll talk about later, but for me that was really, really hard. It made me think like how much our parents actually form us, and that was grabe. Because prior to that, he still has like a conscience about it. He's still like worrying. He's still like saying, Dad, like, what if? And then at that moment, that's where his character turns around completely. It was horrible to see that chicken. Well, we don't see the chicken die, but yeah, that was a hard scene for me to watch.
Yeah. I also, just bouncing up from what you said. I remember that Gunwan was telling his dad that, hey, we should probably tell the truth
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
it was really my fault and I feel
yeah,
so bad about it.
yeah.
But what I found interesting was that dad said, no, I mean, you better stand, you better, I'm trying to protect you because you're the successor of
Oh my gosh.
Jenga. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, damn, this guy's so twisted. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, at least there was some hint of goodness that we saw in
Yeah.
Good One, but that all
Exactly.
changed, of course, when
Exactly.
he
It's horrible.
killed the chicken off,
Yeah.
off camera. We could have
Yeah.
gotten like a good like redemption story for him, but I mean, it wouldn't be called
I thought
Itaewon
we would,
Class.
but let's not talk about that right now. All right. Let's go into the flutter scene. What's the moment that made your heart flutter? What's yours?
For me, what made just thinking about it makes um,
Sorry, go on.
allow it, fam. Allow it. Allow
Allow
it.
it. Allow it.
Allow it. Allow it. All right. So, definitely there is an honorable mention. I'll get that out of the way first. The
Go ahead.
honorable
Go
mention
ahead.
was the prison scene with
Oh, that's a good
Sua
one.
and Seri. And I just love the conversation they had. It was cute.
That was really nice. That was a nice
That was
scene.
just really cute.
Yeah.
Why did you get my number?
Aww.
Do you still like me?
Yeah.
And Seri was like, oh yeah, I got your number and I'm sorry because I know that you said not to like you.
Yeah.
But I did it because I like you.
Yeah.
And I love the line where Sua goes, do you still like me? And then Seri, just Park Seri things. He pats his head like this and
Yeah.
he's just smiling like the stupid guy he is.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was cute. And sorry. And 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 Sua goes like, I don't like poor guys. And Seri goes, then my dream is to become rich.
Yeah.
And to to someone who's watching it for the first time, probably think that, oh man, Sua, like, why you gotta be like that? I mean, he's trying to tell you that
Yeah.
he likes you and stuff. But I don't want to say too much because I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably end up.
You can leave it there if you want to.
I'll leave it there. I'll
alright.
probably leave it there. But I
yeah.
love that conversation. That was my runner-up actually.
For me, I wanna
yeah.
talk about that for a bit. I like
Yeah, go ahead.
I like that part. I was so impressed by the way he handled it. When he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I did this." Like Suo was saying sorry, and he was like, "No, it's true. It's okay. I hit Gunwan." And then he was like, "You did the right job for reporting me." And then he basically says like, "If you didn't stop me, I'd still be here, but I'd be in here for murder. So thank you for that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's true." And then she goes like, "Oh, what are you gonna do when you get out?" And he was like, "Oh, an ex-convict can't be a police officer." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sad." Like when I was watching that part, but then yeah. All right, what's your actual flutter scene?
My actual heart fluttering scene was, and I don't want to talk about it too much because it's also a contender for one of the other categories.
Go ahead.
Was the scene where Sua was piggybacking on Artseri.
Yeah.
That scene really like made my heart, just like, oh man, this it's so cute.
Yeah.
I it's funny also because they have this conversation which I'll be talking about later. They enjoyed Halloween, going around Itaewon and all of that jazz. And Sua is Asian flush, she's she's probably like what do you call this? She's probably buzzed by all of the alcohol that she took and whatnot. and they have this conversation, and then when they get to Sua's house, Sua was like, "Oh, um, do you have a place to stay?" And so Sari is like, "Oh, no,
I'm leaving on the next bus.
I'm taking the next
Yeah.
bus." And then Sua's like, "Oh, the my place
Small.
is
Yeah.
small." And Sari's just like, "Huh? Oh." And yeah, he took it literally. He's just like,
Get a
"Oh,
hint, boy.
okay." and then so it's like, "Do you want to come in? Just,
Yeah.
you want to come in?" and then Sari's like, "Oh, he finally understood it."
Yeah.
My guy finally understood it, and he's like, "Oh, I can't." And then
Yeah.
and then so I was like, "Oh, you don't want to? You don't like me
Mm.
or anything, or you don't want to?"
Yeah.
And then Sari's like, "Oh, I'm not rich yet." and then so it was like, "Oh, forget it."
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
That
It was.
that scene was that
It
scene
was.
was that scene was heart fluttering for me.
Yeah.
What about you, Trey?
For me, it would be actually the conversation on the way up the stairs,
Yeah.
where
Okay.
they were talking, and she was like, "Oh, must have been hard for you," and he was like, "It's okay." And then like
Yeah.
while they were walking up, like she kind of like holds on tighter. I just found that really really cute. Like I think she realized like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this guy in like 3 years, and he's here. I've been writing to him, and then he just hugs him tighter. I found that really cute. All right. So we're gonna go to the next category. Oh wait, that happened. The parts that we forgot about. So I'll start. So I forgot that Gunwon asks his dad to set Park Seo-rae free. I forgot about that. It's such an
Okay.
interesting look back because you see how he is in the rest of the show. And I
Mm-hmm.
forgot that at the start that he was actually feeling that way. Where he was like, shouldn't we tell
Mm-hmm.
the truth? Shouldn't we Dad, I did it. And his dad looks at him, he's like, I can't have the heir of my company looking like this. The gardener already took care of it. And then
Yeah.
that scene for me, I forgot about that part. I was like, whoa, that's interesting, you know?
Mm.
Um and I have a few others that I wanna hit.
Okay.
So the next one would be right before Gunwan kills the chicken, he says Sarui. Like he literally says he says like Sarui, then he snaps off the chicken's neck. And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's dark, man.
Mm.
Another one would be Miss Kang and Sua having a mentorship relationship. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I forgot that.
I
Also,
forgot about that
man,
part.
now
I
that
was
you
like,
mention
wait, they're friends? Like I don't
it.
remember them talking in any other part of the show, to be frank. That
Yeah.
scene I was like, oh wait, I forgot about that part. And last one for me,
Mm.
when Serui is released from prison, but like on the way to Itaewon, he's like in a train station, he watches the TV, and then he sees Gunwan like being arrested for assaulting a restaurant employee. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
and then the report said like he was calling the employee a pig or something like that. And I was like, oh shoot,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Just a flashback to the
Yeah.
farm scene. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what are yours?
Actually, you mentioned already some.
Mm.
But one scene that I honestly forgot was the chicken scene,
Oh,
because
okay.
like I thought. I mean, I had I already had this I already sort of knew that it was Jang Dae who had the actual conflict with Park Seoi, because Park Seoi wanted to beat him and
Mm.
stuff, wanted to overcome him. But I actually honestly forgot about the chicken scene,
Yeah.
which was actually very like what you said. It was very instrumental to the character development of
Mm.
Gunwan. I forgot that scene probably because that scene didn't really leave an impact as much as I wanted to.
Okay.
Because I really hated the guy.
Oh
I
yeah, for
really,
sure. You're
really
just like,
hated
I
the guy.
hate
I
this
didn't want
guy.
to do anything with the guy. I didn't want to know. I just wanted to get the guy over with. But that was the scene that I forgot. That was the scene that I
All right.
forgot for episode 2. But you said actually, yeah, I agree with you. The mentorship with Miss Kang
Right?
and
I forgot
Sua,
about that.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
how did they get to? How did they like end up, with that sort of working
Yeah.
relationship?
I forgot
So
about
yeah,
that.
those are the parts that I forgot
Yeah.
for the show, but very instrumental actually. Very key to the growth of the characters.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go into best quote. What's your best
Best
quote of the
quotes.
episode?
All right. Can I go first in this one?
Go ahead.
All right. For me, best quote. It has to be the. It has to be the What do you call this? The staircase scene with Sua and Park Sharri.
All right. All right.
And you know, I'm probably for the whole discussion of Itaewon Class, I'm probably gonna be saying, "Oh, Sua's best girl Sua," but I don't know, like the scene. She just said every conversation that she has with Seri, it's like, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that I can't be like you, and I'm sorry that this happened, and I was afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know how much Janga means to you, and I don't want you to resent me. You can resent me all you want.
Yeah.
And Park Seri goes, don't be silly. You said you wish me happiness now and always.
Yeah.
There's no way I can resent you.
Mm.
You're just living your life, and I'm always grateful.
Mm.
And then the scene where Sua realizes, like, damn, this guy, man, this guy. Oh man, I miss this guy so much. And just that, like, that look, that shot of her face is like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy,
Yeah.
and hugs tighter, like, man,
Man.
that guy.
You know what?
I mean,
Yeah.
if you heard something like that, I mean, wouldn't your action be like, man, this guy, like,
Yeah.
this guy gets it,
Yeah. I agree.
this person gets it, like,
Yeah.
I feel bad, but he doesn't put me down, like, he affirms, or he or she affirms me,
Yeah.
he builds me up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my best quote.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, shout out to Sua.
You know what? So there's a part here I forgot to put in the flutter moment. The
Go.
reunion of Sua and and Park
Like,
Seo-rui
yeah, they're
in
together.
like in my head I was thinking, like, of all the chances that they actually like meet up, but oh well. I found that really interesting when, like, she runs to him. It's actually a funny moment. She runs to him wearing the mask, and she takes it off, and it's like, whoa, I haven't seen you in years. You what a glow up. Anyway.
What a glow
Right?
up.
All right.
Girl Sua though.
My best quote is when he's in the cellmate for the first. Oh wait, cellmate. When he's in the cell room for the first time in prison, and the guy basically kicks his knee, like his bad knee, and he's like, kneel before us, and then he goes, "Will things be easier in my life if I just kneel?" And then you hear his dad's voice in his head, and his dad basically says, "I want you to be confident. I want you to live like you're confident. Like, I want you to live a life like that."
Yeah.
And then he doesn't kneel, and they basically just beat him up anyway. But for me, like, that was such a strong part. Like, he knows it. He knows, like, will it be easier if I just kneel? If he knelt, his dad would probably still be alive. All that stuff. We won't get Itaewon Class. But I just found that that was so powerful for me. Do you have any thoughts on that moment?
Yeah. Actually, I have a thought on another scene in the prison. He was looking out of the window and looking into the sun, and this is after the conversation that he had with Sue.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
and finally he had like a drive, something that would give him purpose. So
Yeah,
I like that scene.
yeah,
I think that scene, um, while there was conflict, it in the elements of story, there's a uh, the intro,
yeah,
the intro,
yeah.
and then
Rising action.
the rising conflict. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
rising
yeah.
conflict, and then there's a. This isn't the climax yet.
Yeah, yeah.
This is just the part where he's beginning to understand. Okay, this is what I have to do,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do it.
This is basically
I'm
the
gonna try
start
to
of
resolve
the
the
rising
conflict.
action, kind of, in the long story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that is the part.
All right.
That is my. That I just wanna bring that part up. But yeah,
Yeah.
best quote. Best quote.
All right. What is your biggest what if?
My biggest what if.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What if Park Seri was smart? No, okay. Let's not go back to that. Let's not go back to that. I mean, he is smart, but socially inept. But
Yeah.
yeah. Biggest what if? Um, what if? What if Gunwon like defied his dad at that moment?
Oh,
We'd
that's an
probably have a
interesting one.
different. Yeah, we'd
Mm.
probably have a different direction for Itaewon Class.
Super.
We'd probably still have the conflict,
Yeah.
but
The dynamics are
um,
different at this
the
point.
dynamics are different.
Yeah.
And I'd probably, on a personal level, I'd probably find the character development of Gunwan a bit more interesting.
Mm.
That he still that trying to prove himself to his father or to himself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like going against him
Mm.
because of certain things.
Yeah.
But we don't get that because there's another person for that.
What do you mean?
There's another person who fulfills that.
Ah,
role.
okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. My biggest what if, I have two.
Go ahead.
So the first one would be, what if the autobiography of Janga wasn't in the prison? What does that change anything?
Yeah, probably he'd find a way to it. He'd find a way. Park Sari has this knack of finding ways
true.
of
All right.
getting things, making things happen
Yeah.
throughout the show.
Yeah.
And he, I liked how he read the autobiography, because it made him find that sort of weak spot for Janga, or not also the weak spot probably, but
Yeah,
also
but he learned everything
how
he could.
yeah
basically.
how Jang Dae-hee was able to become successful.
Yep.
So and the sort of ethos. If there's a later episode way in the show, which talks about that, but for this particular episode, I like how it was a way of Park Sari getting to understand his enemy more.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Know your enemy. All right.
Yeah.
My second what if would be, what if he just went into Sua's house and didn't?
Yeah, exactly. That was my what if.
I think the story changes completely, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't need to have a UCL. But I mean, it's
like what if he went inside? He's like, oh wait, I enjoy being with her. I'm not gonna go deep sea diving for 7 years. Like what if that happened? And he just like, hey, can you help me get a job? All right.
Yeah, I mean, like on a wholesome level, like probably he'd find other ways to make
Alright.
his to become successful.
I think it's different
and-
though. I don't think he reaches the same point of success.
Exactly.
I
And
think he'll
the thing
start-
about
What do you call this? I think he'll start being okay with where he is, and I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
yeah, definitely. I also ask myself that what if just looking at the show again. But the thing about Seri is that he's someone who does not compromise his values and beliefs
That's
at
true.
all.
All right.
So if he were to if he were to go inside Sua's house, then that would be a complete like disregard for his character.
That's true.
And I
Alright.
think the writer of the show or the writer of the series um, executed that part well.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
as much as I wanted Serui and Sua, to continue their relationship on that level, I think it was appropriate that Serui had to leave.
Yeah.
And to sort of like figure out what he really wanted to do.
Yeah. I agree.
You
I
know,
agree.
to number one, build connections,
Yep.
which we will get later on,
Yep.
and also to prove himself, because like he said, nobody would want to hire ex-convict. Right?
Yep. Alright.
So yeah,
Alright. Did you say? Yeah, you did. Alright, we're gonna go to the next one. What is who do you award the Itaewon Class Award to? The biggest lesson or realization of the episode?
I think for me,
This is a hard one for me.
but you have an answer already.
Yeah, I do.
um, um, huh. Biggest realization: don't kill chickens. I'm just kidding.
Oh, animal cruelty.
Don't kill chickens.
Bad.
Like, don't treat people like chickens, or don't.
Yeah, that's bad.
Animals. It's bad. It's very bad.
That's very
Don't
bad.
do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're listening, don't do it.
Don't do it. Just say no. Um. Really, my biggest takeaway for this episode was, and this is something that just thinking about it now, um, thinking about it now, just reflecting on the lesson that I learned.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more timely for me on a personal level. Is that don't what do you call this? Don't let obstacles are inevitable,
Yeah.
but don't let them hinder you from achieving your goals. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what pace you're going. What matters is that you're moving towards your goal.
Yeah.
I like how, despite the fact that he went to prison, Park Seroyi chose not to give up, and he held on,
Yeah.
because that honestly keeping that dream alive of his, to put up a restaurant in honor of his dad. That was the only thing that he was holding on to. That was the
Yeah.
only memory of his dad. That was the only thing left of his dad for him to remember.
Yeah.
And just abiding by his father's wish to be confident, to live the way to live the way he said he wanted to live.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that was the big takeaway for me this episode.
Yeah.
What about you, Trey?
For me, it would be things take time. I love the time jumps.
Ooh.
I love the time jumps. The way that they did it. I didn't know that they do it, of course, at the start of the show when I first watched it. Watching it again was so interesting because they basically go through like 10 years in this episode. So they start out with him going to jail. 3 years after that, he goes to Taiwan, visits Sua, and then he works for 7 years, saves up money.
Mhm.
Then by the end, he's fixing up the pub. So that would be mine. It's things take time, and having a plan is actually a great thing. I mean, it's not everything, but plans are important as well. All right, which brings me.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
oh wait, by the way,
Yeah.
before we move on, I'm sure you know this because we're both businessmen
Yep.
aspiring to have
Yep.
you
Yep.
know to have to make it
Yep. 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 Yep.
to make our business successful.
Yes, sir.
Um, it's really having the patience and at the same time the perseverance
Mm-hmm.
um to make things happen.
Yep.
And a lot of times we'd want things instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's hard
Yeah.
for that's hard as because
Yeah.
as businessmen, and I'm sure you know this.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
we'd want like high sales
Yep.
in 1 week,
Yep.
and like for the succeeding weeks, we know we'd have like a lot of customers,
Yep.
and all of that good stuff, which isn't wrong,
Mm.
but in reality, things really do take time.
They do. They really do.
They do take time,
Yeah.
and it it's not to it's not to it's not to bring us down,
Yeah.
but it's definitely to teach us, to really grow. It's an opportunity for us to grow and let time do, let time do its thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let time do its work. So yeah,
No, I agree with that completely. We live in an age where even if it's a small company, you try to act like it's all okay, which is, it's part of business.
yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want
Ex-
to fail?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. You don't post your failures often, but then I found that really interesting when he said like, "Oh, I have 7 years." I'm like, "Wow, this guy."
Hmm.
All right, which brings me to the lens flare rating. So rate the cliffhanger of the episode. So basically, in the end of the episode, he leaves for. So it's like this big dramatic moment, right? It's like the music, and so let's start at the part where he's leaving for the boat. So he has his stuff. He's going on the boat, and then it basically cuts to black, and it goes 7 years later. And I was like, wait, what?
7 years.
Wait, and then before we go into the lens flare rating, can we talk about Vicious Bar? So
Vicious. Ah,
so
I wanna feel
Sua
bad for just one
is
night. Vicious bar.
pitching Vicious Bar, and for those who don't remember it, it's the bar where it's basically like a sinful bar, or like a bar where you can like let loose and do what you want to do,
Yeah.
for the sake of release of stress. And I found that really interesting watching.
Yeah.
it. It's so funny to watch again. I'm like, Vicious Bar.
Vicious bar. And then John Day is like, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, and he's killing it at work. She's killing it. She's so good.
Yeah, she's killing it. She's doing the work.
Yep.
She's
Yep.
getting it done. Oh, also time skip, like that glow up. Yeah, just gotta get it out there. That glow up.
All right.
Nothing much to say. Just the glow up.
Yeah. This is the scene where we also like after the meeting, Gunwan asks Sua if she needs a ride. I found that really interesting. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it goes back to
episode one, and I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that was episode 1 was 10 years ago. So like,
I was so pissed. Like, why does Gunwan still like hit on Sua after everything that's happened? Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then this is where we get the Miss Kang and Sua mentor scene, which I found really interesting.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, this is where she's like narrating her life. She's like, she was working and all that stuff. It's been 7 years, and she's driving. Can I just say that those shots are so nice? Like her going down Seoul and all that stuff with her car. She's driving. It's so beautiful.
For sure.
And then she's like talking about Serui, and she's walking down Itaewon, and she says, when my memories of Serui started to fade, and then she's walking, right? She's just walking. And then she hears, oh, Sua. She looks left, and it's just like him, like fixing, like on the ladder, and then he goes down on his boots and everything. She's like,
that boots.
and then,
Shout out to the fit though.
boom, lens flare. What's your lens flare rating?
Let me just talk about that scene a bit.
Go ahead.
Because
I
found that scene so good. I like how it was just as cheesy as cliche as it sounds. Like, oh, I thought that my memories of Seri was fading away, and then suddenly, bam!
Yeah.
He came into the scene.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't changed. Like, Are you okay?
Yeah.
Have you been well?
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then so it's just like dumbfounded,
And then she was like, "It's been exactly 7
awestruck
years."
that this guy,
Yeah.
after 7 years, did what he said he would do. My guy got a restaurant. My guy had a business. He had the money. He had the skills to pay the bills. And then she's just like, wow, this guy did it.
Yeah, yeah,
He did everything he said he would do.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in Itaewon of all places.
yeah. And that
Um,
last line, where she goes like, "It's been exactly 7 years," and then she says,
It's been exactly 7
To him.
years. Yeah.
"It's only natural." I was like, "Whoa!" Like,
I love it.
whoa.
And then we see both of them smiling, and then cue, I can fly in the sky, never gonna stay. Ha! Na, 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 na,
Oh
na.
man.
You already know my lens flare rating, 10 out of 10.
Oh my goodness.
Both objectively and subjectively speaking,
Mm.
that was a really good lens flare moment.
I-
And I mean, usually lens flare moments would be would serve the purpose as a cliffhanger.
Right, right.
But for this particular moment, it was just like this, that sort of like deep sigh of relief. That,
Mm.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah,
Everything went well. We went through all of that heavy emotional
Episode 1 and 2, just
scenes,
wow.
episode 1 and 2, but we have that moment of just release, like,
Yeah.
okay, it's all gonna be good. It's all gonna be
Yeah.
good. So yeah, my lens flare rating for episode 2, 10 out of 10. How about you, Trey?
I'm gonna nitpick a little bit.
Well, go ahead.
I found this very
Oh.
good. You know, it was very powerful. I was like, whoa, he made it. So cool. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Fair enough.
For a simple reason being, I stopped watching after this episode. Meaning, I was done for the night. Meaning, like, I was watching.
Okay,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, like, that's great. Like, oh, she made it. Cool. And then I was like, okay, I can sleep now.
Yeah.
So in terms of a cliffhanger, it's an 8 out of 10. In terms of a moment, 10 out of 10. But in cliffhanger terms, I give it an 8.
All right.
All right, last-
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Last thoughts on the episode before we go.
I think that so much can happen in a year's time, and I just love how finally the show is about to kick
Oh,
off.
yes.
And we will finally we'll finally arrive at Itaewon.
Yep.
The place of the show.
Yep.
And finally the show's about to kick off. One thing I do want to just point out is that it was done well. The execution of laying the foundation was done well. I preferably, if I was the one directing it, I'd probably have only one episode to lay the foundation.
Really?
But yeah, for me. I mean,
Okay.
you could do so much in 1 hour, an hour and a half.
Okay.
I mean, if you do it really well, then I mean, I've seen shows that have done that, have executed that pretty well.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining. They did this show, first 2 episodes really well.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to talk about episode 3.
Oh
and
my gosh.
the rest of the episodes.
You know what's one thing that I didn't realize though? I just realized now. Yusuyo's not in this episode,
Yeah.
which is really interesting to me. Anyway, we got to talk about more about that. For me, this episode, I found, man, the time jumps changed my life.
Distance makes the heart grow.
Because like, if this is another show, let's say it's a Western style show with Western studios, they're gonna milk all those years. They're gonna try to mix.
yeah.
They're gonna make
probably gonna have, like, filler
stories
episodes and
about
whatnot.
the 3 years and the 7 years. We'll get 1 season of him in jail. We'll have 2 seasons of, or
Yeah.
1 or 2 seasons of him on the boat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it just makes it really interesting to the parts where they left out were okay for me. I'm just like, all right, like that's fine. It's nice to just imagine what it was like and all that stuff. They didn't have to feed it to us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we just, like, he's going on a boat now. That was really hard. It didn't have to show him struggling every day, all that stuff. So,
yeah.
I like that part of it, including the prison part. That was interesting, where he actually meets the mafia guy I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
he does.
So they did that well. Like they were laying down so much foundation at that part at this episode that goes through
Yeah.
the whole series that I didn't realize the first time watching. Of course, but yeah, very
All
very
good, all
well
good.
done. Good groundwork for when the show starts, episode 3.
Yeah,
All
for
right,
sure.
Josh, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Trey, for having me. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching and listening so far. We promise you guys we'll be reviewing the show in more depth,
Yep.
and we hope you can look forward to what we have to say for the
Yep.
remaining episodes of Itaewon Class.
All right, so we got episode 3 and 4 coming up soon. Go like and subscribe to see more of that. And Josh, any last words?
Yeah. Shout out to Sua, best
I
girl.
knew it.
Hey, come on, give me some slack. She was my first K-drama crush.
You can
okay?
have this time because I got
Yeah,
you
I'll
later in
have this one.
the
I'll have this
series.
one.
All right,
I'll have this.
I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. To know more about us, check us out online at White Stripe Podcast, and you can follow me at Trey Remulla on Instagram and Twitter. You can also check out more content on YouTube. Just go check out. We have a lot of snippets out there, and you can also see more and follow full episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.